This week, we are going to be working with different types of panels, and you're going to learn how to create the various panels using JavaScript and jQuery. And we're also going to be using the jQuery UI, which is even more abstract than jQuery. So you're definitely going to want to read through the chapter in the book, and then we'll take a look at these key concepts. Because we are using the jQuery UI, I do have additional information for you on that UI, a little tutorial you can download and read. I think you guys will like it just because it's not a lot of coding and it's pretty powerful. So first of all, we do go through how to add the no script tag for people who don't have JavaScript. This information will be on your certification exam, so make sure you understand it. Then we get into the different types of panels. We start with an accordion panel. And this is an interactive example. So you can kind of take a look at it. If you want to view it on a separate page, I've got a link to that. That would be the vertical version. There's also a horizontal version that you can take a look at. It's basically the same thing, just horizontally. And then I have a video that explains the code. And I've got the code displayed here. It's actually pretty self-explanatory with JavaScript because you can pretty much see everything that it's doing. It gets a little bit more abstract with jQuery because we can do basically the same exact thing using jQuery. So I've got the jQuery accordion example. I've got mine. So you can kind of take a look at that one. And then I've also got one from the textbook authors, and you can take a look at theirs. And then I also have a video that explains the code. And here is yet another one for you to look at. Okay, and you can see the code for all of these by right-clicking and going into the view page source. A couple things to note. I do have the jQuery file, so I have loaded that instead of using the CDN. So for you guys, if you do not have the actual file, you have to link to the CDN or say the source is the CDN. And then I've got the jQuery code right here. We do get into using the jQuery UI. They have an Accordion widget. And you can see that we basically send it some parameters and that's it. All of the coding is kind of behind the scenes. You can see that here I've got basically a couple different libraries that I'm pulling in for this. And then I've got the various code. And I have an example, and I also have a video that walks through the code with you. There are some key points to this as far as things that you can change, and one of them is the color scheme. And so the color schemes are here. It is part of the link. And these are the different color schemes that are available, unless you want to create your own, which Theme Roller lets you do. So if you go to the jQuery site, sorry about that. If you go to the jQuery site, you can actually see what all of these look like. Then we get into tabbed panels. And so we start with JavaScript tab panels. And with the JavaScript, you can see all of the code. So you can kind of tell exactly what's going on. I do have a video that explains that, and you can see the example outside of the lecture notes. And here I've got the tab panel and the CSS. And then we get into jQuery, which is a little bit more abstract. Okay, and then we do get into using some new commands, the filter, location hash, and we have a video explaining all of that and examples. And then we get into the jQuery UI tabbed panels. So basically for the accordion and the tab panels, you are going to be working with JavaScript, jQuery, and the jQuery UI. 3 different ways to do them. And there's examples and videos for all of them. And then we switch gears a little bit and we start talking about modal windows. And I'm sure you guys have seen these. These are basically the pop-up windows. And here is the textbook author's example. Okay, so I clicked on the heart, got this little modal window. Here is an example. Oh, darned, it's not there anymore. I will have to try to find it and update the link because that was actually a pretty cool example. So there are examples out on the web, but these are the different areas that modals are typically used. I have some additional examples that I created here. And so this one, we click here, we get a modal. Here we click on the picture. And you guys are going to have the opportunity to create modals as well. We can have buttons for triggers. We can have links for triggers, which is what the image was. And this section explains how to set all of that up. There's a video that goes through it. You can do it in JavaScript. You can also do it in jQuery. So I've got an example here and a video that explains all of the code. And let's see, this is again the code for the modal. And then we get into creating a photo viewer. And there's actually 2 different photo viewers that we're going to be taking a look at. And actually, let me get rid of some of these. So this is my photo viewer. Basically, this is one style where you have a thumbnail that displays a larger image. The book also has one that's similar, and the video here explains all of the code. I do have a link for another option for a photo viewer. Okay, and this is called a Lightbox. It's kind of similar to the thumbnail one that we looked at. Similar in concept. And you can read through this and see all of the code. And then we also have what's called a responsive slider, which I think is pretty cool. Basically, it's going to, by default, move the images from the right to the left, and you can see which image is selected by the button. But you can control this. You can click on different buttons and you can change directions. So this is actually pretty cool. And the video does explain the code, and I do have the code all displayed here with text kind of going through all the various lines. For more information on the different jQuery effect methods that we used for these last couple examples. I do have links to more information on those. But make sure you watch the videos that explain the code, because that is really where you're going to develop more of an understanding for what is going on. And when you finish all of that, and that is quite a bit, there's a lot this week, then you're going to go into the programming assignment and you're going to create a page using panels. So you can do either the accordion or the tabbed. And for those of you who like this look, if you would like to redo your menu for your term project and incorporate the 3 games into either the tabbed panel or the accordion panel, you can. And for this exercise, you can either use JavaScript or jQuery, either one, your choice. And again, I do have videos that explain the code. Okay? And it's important that you guys understand what's going on, especially when you create your own. Then for exercise 2, you're going to create a page using the jQuery UI. So it's going to be either accordion or tabbed panels. Okay, it's going to be your choice. And I do have a couple examples with videos that are explaining the code. For exercise 3, you're going to create a modal window. I have lots of examples. You can do it in jQuery. You can do it in JavaScript, and there are video explanations of the code. For the last exercise, you are either going to do a jQuery photo viewer or a responsive slider. It is your choice. Okay. And you could actually kind of work this into your term project too. If you wanted to do little thumbnails of the games and do kind of the photo viewer for your menu, that's fine, totally up to you. If you want to create something different, that is okay too. I do have the examples and explanations of the code. So that is the assignment. There is a lot this week, but I think you guys are going to enjoy it because what we're covering is kind of neat. Once you are done with the assignment, you should be finishing up milestone number 2. And as a refresher, milestone number 2 is one of your games is fully functional. The second game is partially done. It does not need to be fully complete. You need to do the PowerPoint presentation. You also need to do the video where you're demoing your site and your game, talking about the second one that's not quite done. And you will be adding that video to the discussion to share it with your classmates. None of this, the assignment, the milestone, and the showcase, nothing is due until April 4th, which is after spring break. So there's no need to rush and get it done. You do have a little bit of time. If you run into problems or have questions, please let me know. I am here to help you.